welcome to Clock Shelves Entertainment presents Wrestle, Wrestling Renegades extra segment to lightly entertain, where we take a quick look at a variety of topics that don't necessarily make it into the original Wrestling Renegades episodes and just talk about them for a good few minutes. I am one of the Wrestling Renegades, Paul, joined as always by
Zach.
I thought for this episode we could discuss, because the ultimate deletion is taking place. I'm actually going to try to put this up on the day that ultimate deletion takes place. So I thought we could take a look back at the original Final Deletion that took place in TNA Impact Wrestling, or whatever they were calling themselves then. And it was potentially even better watching it this time, I think.
Yeah, I have a greater appreciation for what they were going for this time. And it really makes me think that like if WWE doesn't lean completely into like just the sheer ridiculousness of what Matt Hardy and his family can concoct, and they would have failed. They'll have failed with the ultimate deletion.
Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, I've talked about it on the regular show that we do, but like, Woken versus Broken is just so different, and I don't like it because there is a YouTube playlist that I was watching before getting officially to the Final Deletion, and it was like all of these various clips of, the fact that the Hardys had an I Quit match, and Jeff did a swanton bomb off of like it wasn't like really high up scaffolding, but like off of a thing onto Matt, who was on a table, and Matt had to get taken out in a stretcher. And so then like the next, it was like, because it was just a few different clips from various episodes. And then so like a week or so later, because Matt was off TV for a little while. So a week or so later, Rebby is there, and she's just like, you broke him. He won't even look at me. When I look into his eyes, he's just like a completely different person. He won't talk to me. You need to deal with this, blah, blah, blah. And you just slowly see, even over these, 30-second to minute clips, just Matt slowly losing his mind. And he has, Rockstar Spud, now known as Drake Maverick, with him. And, then it's just, like he dressed up as Willow at one point, which is another one of Jeff Hardy's characters, and basically just attacked him. And they had a few other matches, and then, he basically called him out where he's just like, I need to, and I mean, he slowly was like building the voice with that weird accent. He had the streak in his hair and all that stuff, and he was just slowly building all of this stuff. He's like, I need to delete you. I need a win, all this other stuff. And then I watched the promo right before where he's just like, I'm challenging you to the Final Deletion at the Hardy compound. And oh man, that match.
If you want to call it that.
It's a near 20-minute clip. The first 8 minutes, because I had to look, the first 8 minutes is like him and like Jeff preparing for it. Like it takes about 8 minutes before they finally both get in the ring at night on the Hardy compound. Out of it's like a near 20-minute clip, and it's almost halfway before they finally both get in the ring. And I'm not complaining, but it was just like, damn,
Yeah, and honestly, I'll be shocked if they make a video this long for Raw, because like, yeah, Raw's 3 hours, and you would think that they could devote, another 20 minutes to doing this similarly to how it was done in Impact, which that works. So why put the formula? I'll be astonished if they do that.
Yeah, I can't. Well, one, I can't understand why they wouldn't have done this for WrestleMania instead of just a Raw. Not even if it was the go home Raw for WrestleMania, I can understand. But we're still, I think, what, a month away? Little less than a month away from WrestleMania. So like, they better be planning something big. And I mean, the final deletion, I think at that point everybody knew it was, I don't think they knew where it was going to go, but I think it, like, they knew that it was going to be bigger. And of course, it ended up leading to, you know, total nonstop deletion, which had the tag team apocalypto where like Rock and Roll Express showed up, and whichever one of the Road Warriors is still alive, I can't remember offhand.
Animal.
Thank you. And then like it led to Delete or Decay, and it led to like all these other things. And I don't know if they knew exactly that it was gonna be as big, but like you kind of got the feeling at the end of that like that wasn't it. And there actually is a promo where after it's the next day, and that's the one where he names the boat Skarsgård. He puts all of brother Nero's worldly possessions. Oh, and let's clarify for anybody who doesn't know, Nero is Jeff's middle name in real life. That's where they got that from, because there's a lot of
Oh,
people.
I just figured like that's a Roman emperor, so and it sounds cool. I figured that's where he pulled that from.
Yeah, no, it's
I did not
actually,
know.
yeah, it's Jeff Nero Hardy, and because actually because Jeff has daughters and Matt has sons, and so one of Jeff's daughters is Nera,
Oh
because
my God.
after
I'm not
him.
even surprised. I'm not even surprised.
But I think that was before any of this ever happened. So it's not
No,
like,
it's just Jeff Hardy's a weird dude, so like he would be the one to make a name up.
but it's
At least Maxwell and or yeah, it's
not
King
Maxwell, not
Max.
Maxwell.
All right, never mind. He made something up too, so they're both crazy.
Maxwell and Wolfgang. And actually, in that clip at the day after deletion clip or whatever it's called, I think it's called the final deletion, the aftermath. I think day after deletion sounds better. That's the first time. I believe it's the first time that he calls him King Maxwell. Because he at that point, of course, they only had the one kid, so he talks about him as being the heir, the sole heir to the Hardy throne. Because that was the other thing that sort of led to the final deletion was Matt and Jeff. They fought because Matt wanted whoever won was going to have sole ownership of the Hardy brand. Whichever one of them lost was no longer going to be able to be called Hardy. And so that's why he was in, at least in Impact. And I don't know how often they did it on the indies, like with ROH or any of the other promotions that they went to, because of the whole legal battle. But they did almost always refer to him as Brother Nero from that point, because there was actually a thing later on where Jeff was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna leave the company now. And he was like, Matt's there in the ring, and he calls him out, and he's like, no, 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 brother. He basically, this was before he, like, Jeff, or Brother Nero went into the full character as well and got like those white contacts and everything. This was when he was still like, I don't want to join my kooky brother's weird thing. And Matt specifically mentioned, I don't want you to go back up north and think you can use your name and work for Meek Mahan, which I love when he says that.
Uh,
You always have like this sound of disgust when, like, I mean, are you
it's
not a
just
fan of the deletion and woken stuff?
I appreciate what he's doing, what he's going for. It's just like goofy as hell. It's I don't
I'm
know.
sorry. I don't want to go off on a thing here. You like Lucha, which has like
Yeah,
Gift
but
of the
Lucha takes
Gods.
place in like almost an alternate reality where like
Well,
this
technically so
ultimate
does.
deletion stuff takes place between like, you know, wrestling that's playing it straight, I guess.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's why they call it like the broken universe, because like it does take place, but like it sort of does and it sort of doesn't. That's why like he'll always refer to things as, the plane. No, like on Twitter today, he referred to something as the plane known, the post, what do you say, the post Pangea plane of entertainment of the wrestling world or something like that. And he's always saying, the plane known as WWE, and all that sort of stuff. So like it sort of takes place in the real world, but it sort of doesn't. And that's one of the things that I like about it, is because like it sort of blurs those lines of like kooky and real.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've only ever seen the or the Final Deletion, so maybe I haven't seen enough of it.
What do you, you said ultimate deletion on accident. What do you think is, if you had to predict, what do you think is going to happen for this
I
ultimate?
think it's going to be for fans of what Matt Hardy and company did in TNA. I feel like those fans are going to be remarkably disappointed because it just seems like WWE, the powers that be, whether it's Vince McMahon or whoever, they don't seem like they get it. Like it seems like they're leaning into the broken universe or the woken universe more so in like the YouTube clips or like, Senor Benjamin was in an ad for Hardy merchandise on for the shop. It just seems like they're using it. They're targeting it at people who are going to seek out the broken woken stuff, but like the regular people that watch Raw that don't know what's going on, like I feel like it's not really for them. And since this is going to be on Raw, I don't feel like they're going to go the full Monty. Like I'm, and it's Bray Wyatt. I mean, everything the guy's touched in the last year has just been putrid garbage. Not really his fault, but I don't have really high expectations. Maybe that means I'll enjoy it. I don't know.
I'm I mean, unfortunately, I think you're right. I'm really hoping they go the opposite because they filmed this once it was all settled and it was he owns the broken universe now. Matt and Rebby own the broken universe. So like this was all post that. They're full on bringing out the characters: Queen Rebecca, King Maxwell, Lord Wolfgang, Senor Benjamin, Vanguard One, Skarsgård, the dilapidated boat, like all of that stuff, and maybe Jeff as Brother Nero because we're not sure because of his DWI.
Indiscretion.
Yeah. But he, as we talked about in the full show that we do, he did film a cameo, but the way that it was made to sound, it could be easily cut. Um, I'm really hoping that they, especially like you said, they're leaning into it with the YouTube clips. I sent you one just the other day where he
With the giraffe.
yeah, Matt talks to a
Yeah.
giraffe, which apparently has the soul or the essence of George Washington. So like, and he actually there was another one where he did something similar, and he mentioned uh, uh, talking with Joe Frazier, which I believe we talked about in the show the other day. That was the kangaroo. But I really hope that they take this opportunity to like finally do it right, especially because, and honestly, with how she is, I feel like if it wasn't up to her standards, I don't think Rebby would have signed to be featured in stuff.
I hope that's true.
I mean, think about what we know of her. She pulls no punches. Like she has no problem telling anybody. She started the whole "F that owl" campaign against Anthem, whatever their name is, the Owl company that owns TNA Impact. And like she's never been one to say like, I don't like this or I like this and whatever. And she's never pulled any punches in that way. So I don't think, and especially with how much she's put into this, the whole broken thing since the very beginning, because according to her, it was her and Matt sitting at a pancake house when they kind of came up with the early ideas for this. And I don't think that she would have signed on to be with something if it wasn't something that she approved of in a way.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. She is pretty outspoken. So yeah, I mean
See, and
maybe.
that's what they should call her. He's woken or broken, and she's outspoken.
Yeah, she probably like it too.
But I wonder where they go. One, where they go towards Mania, and two, do they go with, because it's the whole thing of he wants to delete Sister Abigail, right? Which is what that now they're claiming Sister Abigail's spirit lives within Bray Wyatt, basically. So is it, and like and whoever the not the vessel Matt Hardy, but the woken whatever he is, him and Sister Abigail have known each other for generations and all that sort of stuff. And so is it now going to be that Bray Wyatt just stops being Bray Wyatt and becomes something else, or is he going to basically become part of the, like, because what happened with Jeff was eventually like he went into the lake of reincarnation and came back out as Brother Nero, where he, had more all black clothing as opposed to, he had some like rainbowy sort of colors. He had like the pure white contacts and all that sort of stuff, and he played into the wackiness of the broken universe as well. And so, are they going to basically make Bray Wyatt, where it's Bray Wyatt slash Sister Abigail and Woken Broken Matt Hardy, and then they're going to be a team now, sort of like they did with the Hardy brothers? Or, like, that's my big question, is like, what's
It's
the aftermath?
one thought that I just had was that, they team up for whatever reason after the Ultimate Deletion. Braun Strowman is like, they tell Braun Strowman like, oh, you're one man, you can't just solo tag, challenge for the tag titles. So, Strowman goes to do something else. Maybe they put him in an Intercontinental ladder match. That seems to be something that they do every year at WrestleMania. And then Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt challenge for the titles at Mania for the tag titles. Because I don't think this is it. This is definitely not the end. They would not do this on an episode of Raw.
Right.
Not so close to Mania. So either this doesn't end and we continue this circle jerk forever as a feud forever and ever and ever, or they move on to the next thing, which it's got to be a tag team because Jeff's out for whatever, he's either injured or maybe they suspended him because of his DWI, and Bray Wyatt's treading water. He's been treading water, so team him up, I guess.
I think it makes sense. I mean, I don't quite know with those. I mean, unless they're going to continue to build that universe, I don't know quite where they, because unless like that, and that's the thing within Impact, not so much the other companies, but within Impact, they needed to they had equals in terms of like these other like weird, not so much like wacky, we've been around for decades characters, but they just had like other, people who had like, and I don't want to say people who have like face paint are weird, but you know what I mean? Like they had other like people who were just like, what's the group in NXT? Like Sanity, right? Like their
Right.
big thing is like, we're crazy, right? Like that's their thing. Like that's why their name is Sanity, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
So like,
They're really just more about like general chaos, but
okay, but even still,
Eric Young definitely has like the crazy thing going on.
like they have like, you know what I mean, like they're like that is sort of their thing versus like say, the Bar, which is just like, we're great wrestlers, there's nothing wrong with that I don't think plays in with the Broken Woken universe. Titus Worldwide, where they're just like, we're investment people who are also wrestlers, sort of thing, I guess. That doesn't really play in. But you have a group like Sanity, or even, I mean, realistically, the New Day could pull it off because they had that Twitter thing a few years ago when the Wyatts and New Day were going back and forth, and when they were tweeting out that Matt was saying that he wanted them to be part of the tag team Apocalypto, and he was just like, where we are and whatever. And so like I think they can sort of, because like they're sort of in the wrestling world, sort of in the non-wrestling world. Do you know what I mean? Because like they always, like, how many times have they acknowledged stuff that we're not supposed to know or whatever. So like I think they could do it, but like there's not many teams right now that they could in theory go against and have it play like the broken universe, and as opposed to just, it's these two idiots laughing and talking about being, beings from from generations and all that sort of, versus like a legitimate, I don't want to say they're not a legitimate team, but basically like a legitimate, like, we're good wrestlers team, like the Bar or something.
Right. Yeah, it's just my main thought was that like Raw's tag team division is like super stagnant. I mean, you could say that about both shows. So like, any new blood I think would be a huge boon. And like I said, I don't see where else these guys go other than tagging with each other.
I agree. I do have to say, final thought on Final Deletion. Two of my favorite moments are the shooting the rockets at each other, and Jeff is just like, "What are you doing? You're crazy!" And
Yeah.
then, of course, the "it's a dilapidated boat" part where he takes cover via Skarsgård. I
Yeah,
don't know.
there better be some callbacks during this Ultimate Deletion nonsense. There better be Skarsgård, and you know what? I want to see Ghost Tractor from the House of Horrors match. Use that travesty for something, even if it's a joke.
Okay. They should bring in some like kooky Wyatt stuff to go along with this as well.
There's so much of it, you might as well.
Yeah. Do we have anything else about Final Deletion and the upcoming in mere hours Ultimate Deletion?
Don't blow this, WWE.
Agreed. If you liked our chat about wrestling today in Wrestle, the Wrestling Renegades extra segment to lightly entertain, you can find our podcast that we do. Comes out every Friday on the Clock Shelves Podcast Network. Link in the description below. And we just talk about all sorts of the wrestling news and rumors and all that sort of stuff and give our opinions from that week. So, yeah, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Zach, for doing this.
Yeah, no problem.
Take care, everybody.